just enough time to make you a video on what's going on so far with the priming work here on the 1225. And it's basically up under there, as I pointed out. Let's see if I can get a better light up there. Yeah, there we go. Up in here under the smoke box in the first course. There's going to be quite a lot of work going on under there in the next week or so, because we need somebody small, usually smaller than me, who could actually get in there. I'm only like 5'5" and pretty slender, but that's saying something. You gotta have someone smaller than me to get in there. So I've already gone over this part here. I had to get into the frame. Now you may be wondering, well, how you get under there? I have to go under the locomotive first, and so I'm going to take you guys through there quickly and show you how that's done. Okay, now right, start under the steam chest here, and you can see that little shadow there, and there I'll light it. That's the pony truck, the lead truck on the locomotive, and it's connected back here, and you can see the lines for the lubrication for the joints, and then there's the end of the frame. That's where the brakes are. And let me get my gloves on here for a moment and have a nice floor view. See how that wheel is. Notice it's a bit dirty. It hasn't been moved out in about a month or so since we put in the air system. So yeah, crawling under here, it's a bit uncomfortable at first, but I guess people who've done this in the past get used to it. I cleaned off the brake beams a little, so that way I can crawl over them without getting too dirty. Still gotta get dirty though. Okay. You see, what I'm pointing at here is the ends of the brakes, basically. And there's a rocker arm here, and here on the other side, and the beams go all the way across to meet all the driving wheels, and then those of course are connected to all the other wheels. Now see where this rocks back, and the air is pumped in from compressors on the front end into this area. Of course, the compressors work on steam. Up here, here's the main part of the frame. This light that's reflecting off it, it's kind of dark. You might not be able to see this. Up there, where you can see the light, there's a hole in the frame where the boiler's been primed. We're gonna make our way up there. You remember in the movie The Polar Express how the ticket came through here? Well, it's a whole lot easier for a ticket to get through this area than it is a guy like me. Even though, once again, I'm pretty small body-wise. And here's another part. See, there's the brake. That's where the shoe meets the wheel. So basically what this does is bar pulls along and is rocked into position against the wheel. And there's the sand line there that goes in front of the other driver. See how big these linkages are, how big the bolts have to be to go in here. Just make my way across it. And see here for those bars, they're connected to each side here, and they're held in place on the bars, on these flat pieces. Easy does it. so dirty, you know, when you're under here. Just gotta be careful. Don't wear new clothes. Okay. Here we are. Okay. Made my way under here. Yeah, a little far. I'm under the axle. Here's the axle. Stand back here. There we go. That's the axle. It sits in the box. This is the journal box. Right here. It's inside the frame on the drivers. And this is the brass linkage. And you can see the oil that surrounds it. And the oil supplied up here on the lines. And it goes up into this octopus type thing apparatus here, where all the lines are separated right above here. And we'll get a view of the top here when I get up there to show you the primer on the boiler. So you see not much work needs to be done on this this time around. They'll be cleaned off and checked and maintained before the engine runs again next hopefully, you know, like next year when we do excursions. But until then, you know, it's just being rolled in and out of the shop. You see the lines and stuff people draw on here. Tried to look for profanity before I came down here. People have written on here in the gunk. It's mostly just dirt and oil. Some sludge grease. And here's a better view of the brake. Yeah, see the arms on here are just these bosses connected to the rods. And back there, like I said, those are the rocker arms. Here. Yeah. See these rockers go up here to these things. These are the pistons, the air pistons. Kind of like what you would see on diesels on the outside of the trucks. The air comes down through here and pushes against this piston and this piston over here, and they're held by the springs, and they're pushed down against the rocker arm, which then pushes the rod this way, and well, it pushes them that way, and then they clamp down, the brakes clamp down the wheels, and that's how the brakes work. Now, if you've been under 765, I'm told that it's actually different, that these things up here are actually horizontal. I've never seen a picture of it, so don't quote me, but that's what I've been told by people who say they've been under there. So, and that back there is another one of those octopus apparatus things with the where the oil lines are for the front axle. Now, getting up here, okay, now we're coming into a bit more light. Here's the top of that thing I was talking about. See, it's just a plate, basically, where all the lines are connected, and they're separated to go out to the different ends of the axle. And that's how the lubrication system in this thing works. There's not a big thing in the front of the cab where the engineer and the fireman are opening the lines to go different places. This thing is like automatic. As the train moves, the oil just flows by itself from the lubrication system up here down, which we can't see because of the beam, and down into these lines, which drive into the axles and the different pivot points. Now this bar that runs across is part of the reverser. That's how it's connected from one side to the other in terms of the valve gear, which you can see out there and there. And these pipes up here run the different water lines. Yeah. So you can see how it's been primed. There's a bit pock marking here where it's dried in places and exposed a few spots which probably need to be touched up before too long. And then I should mention that this bracket here is holding the bottom of the barrel in place. But there are other ones. This one here, this is not actually attached. That's actually called a slider. As the boiler, it's made so the boiler can expand when it heats up. So it slides against it because it grows about an inch outward. It gets bigger. It expands when it's hot. You know, like pretty much anything. So, yeah, that's basically what you can see under here. Of course, here are the leaf springs that run across. 765 has springs internal upright mounted instead of leaf springs. I know that for sure because I have pictures of that. I'm gonna try and show you how what we're doing. Okay, we've got it primed up to this point and then all the way back. But now the tough part comes because, like I said, we gotta find something small enough to fit into this area here. Probably shove them through that space there because that's really the biggest opening we got, and then they could just stand up down here in this area. They might have to stand on the plate where the lines are. I had to sit down on the one back here in order to get all this up here done. Of course, we had a lot more light. I should have brought that in here, but yeah. So that's what it looks like in the frame of this locomotive. Pretty interesting. You know, I don't recommend anybody who's real claustrophobic come in here and try this out. But you know, it's an adventure. There, of course, these are the spokes and the drivers. It's just basically all held together by the links and by the linkages and the springs, and the lubrication all runs through it. Keeps it pretty agile and hopefully trouble-free. In the next 15 years, they'll probably be taken apart more so than the boiler, as we try and keep it up to date. But let's crawl out of here. Yeah. Sometimes this is the hardest part. It's trying to fit through all this. I feel like that ticket in the movie. Whoa, the train's moving. And up there you see the cow, well, I won't say cow catcher, say pilot, because really that's what it is. It's not a big cow catcher, but you get the point. There's lube lines all over this on the front truck too. Like I mentioned, there's the cylinder cocks on this side and on this side. And you remember that steam that comes out of the front of the engine? Well, there's a pipe back up in here. There's that pipe there. That's where that steam comes out that you might see coming out of the bottom of the locomotive. Okay, so I'm going to climb out here and see that's it. Yeah, here we are. Okay. Okay, well, thanks for tuning in to Pere Marquette 1225's March rebuild update. Yeah, we were in there, and hopefully next time we'll see that all done. Okay, till April.